So the Golden Globe nominations came out yesterday, and while I believe that they're a less reputable award body than, say, the Critics' Choice Awards or the BAFTAs, I still think it's interesting to see what names pop up here as we're leading up to the Oscars. And while the Golden Globes have been shady at best over the last several years, I still think it's interesting to look at these nominations. It's the first award that comes out that gets a lot of mainstream attention. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be going over a few of the major categories here and sort of giving my take on who got snubbed, some names that I'm surprised to see here, so on and so forth. So I'm going to start off today with Best Director. Now, they decided to nominate James Cameron for Avatar: The Way of Water, Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Baz Luhrmann for Elvis, that one's really interesting, Martin McDonagh for Banshees of Inisherin, and then Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. I think that a few of these are not surprising. Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, McDonagh and Spielberg, I believe, are going to be there on Oscars night. Those guys, it would have been a huge snub if any of them got left out of this category. I think it's interesting that James Cameron got nominated. Avatar: The Way of Water has had its premiere already, and it's been getting rave reviews. Apparently, this thing is fantastic. I'm seeing it this Thursday, and I'm really excited. By all accounts, people that enjoyed the first Avatar said that this is leaps and bounds better than that one, and people that didn't like the first Avatar are coming out of it saying, yeah, this movie's a masterpiece. Biggest shock with Best Director is the fact that Baz Luhrmann got in for Elvis, but this is a point where we need to remember who the voting body is here. The Hollywood Foreign Press. Really, all they care about is having the best party of any award show this year, and Baz Luhrmann is just a good, sexy name to put in there for your award show. It's going to draw attention to it. This guy, he's very flashy, and if you need an example of that, just go watch any of his movies. This guy is one of a kind, but in order to put him in, they left out a couple of names, and the two big ones that I'm going to focus in on are Sarah Polley for Women Talking and Todd Field for Tar. Todd Field was a name that I felt like could be left out here. He was kind of on the borderline here. He still has a good chance for an Oscar nod here, but Sarah Polley getting left out here, that is interesting, and it makes more sense whenever you think about Women Talking being left out of the award show almost entirely. They only got a screenplay nod, and I'll get into it a little bit later, but they have two people up for Best Supporting Actress who both were left out here as well. It's not up for Best Picture Drama, and this is a movie that's had a lot of awards attention over the last couple of months. So it's interesting that they left it out here. Again, we have to remember who it is that's voting on this stuff. And the Hollywood Foreign Press is kind of the shady sort of awards body that people think the Academy Awards is. The Hollywood Foreign Press, I think, is like 40 people that sit in a room and decide who the nominees are going to be, whereas the Academy is like 10,000 members. So that one is a lot less shady backroom dealings, and this one definitely can be subject to that, and they care just a lot more about the attention that they get for the awards. Again, this is why I feel like it's less reputable. And Sarah Polley, people just straight up don't know her name. People haven't been giving Women Talking a whole lot of attention. I think it's still going to be there on Oscar night. But the Golden Globes, I'm not entirely shocked that she got left out here. As for who I think is going to win here, I'm going to give the edge to Steven Spielberg because he is that big name and he is favorited right now for the Best Director Oscar. I think Daniels does have a chance here. It depends on if the Hollywood Foreign Press is high on Everything Everywhere All at Once. It'll probably win Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy. But again, that one's kind of a toss-up. I don't see McDonagh winning it for Banshees or Cameron for Avatar. Well, I say that with the caveat of I haven't seen Avatar yet. Maybe Cameron, once that comes out, and maybe if it's super successful, maybe whenever that comes out, he becomes the favorite, but I don't know yet. Next is Supporting Actress, and this one is super, super spicy. We got Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Kerry Condon for Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Dolly De Leon for Triangle of Sadness, and then Carey Mulligan for She Said. First, let me get into a couple of people that slipped in here that I thought were a little under the radar. Angela Bassett gets in for Wakanda Forever, as well as Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere. And I think it's interesting that they're there, especially Jamie Lee Curtis, because there is an omission here from the same movie. Stephanie Hsu didn't get nominated. And again, I feel like this is just the Golden Globes wanting celebrities to show up to their party. I remember last year they couldn't really put on a show because enough celebrities just said, "Hey, screw you guys, we're not gonna go." But this may just be a ploy to try to attract attention there. They nominate Jamie Lee Curtis. She's been campaigning for Best Supporting Actress. I still attest that Stephanie Hsu is the Best Supporting Actress in that movie. But I'm not going to complain about Jamie Lee Curtis. She was a good bit role or a good side character or supporting actress for Everything Everywhere. But still, I would have given the nod to Stephanie Hsu myself. Angela Bassett there. Again, I feel like it's an attention thing. She might be there on Academy Award night, but there are just so many people that got left out here. I could see her just getting nudged out there. Now, as for whether or not I think that she deserves it, yeah, sure. I could totally see it. I would probably put her in the top 6 or 7 supporting actresses. I don't know where she would rank in there, but if she got an Oscar nod, sure, whatever. But, I mean, whenever you think about the people who got left out here, it's insane. The big story are the 2 people left out from Women Talking, and that is Jessie Buckley and Claire Foy. Now, if you look on Gold Derby, Jessie Buckley is the number 1 favorite here. And it's been in the conversation about whether or not they should just throw one of them into lead and one of them in supporting, because if you have 2 people from the same movie, it could split the vote. I feel like, again, that this is a case of just the Hollywood Foreign Press doesn't really care about Women Talking. And so they just didn't nominate either of them. I think it's weird that neither of them got nominated. I could understand one being left out maybe if they just didn't care about the movie. But the fact that both of them are not there is really, really interesting. Dolly De Leon for Triangle of Sadness. I don't really know too much about it. I haven't seen the movie. I need to, especially if she's going to be in the conversation for awards moving forward. She Said didn't get a whole lot of attention whenever it came out, but Carey Mulligan is a big name, and she's an excellent actress. I haven't seen the movie. I need to. It's sort of one of those movies that's like All the President's Men, Spotlight, sort of a newsroom sort of a movie. So she gets in there, but a couple of other snubs there other than the Women Talking duo are Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion and then Hong Chau for The Whale. Janelle Monáe, I would put her in there. I thought that she was very, very unique and different from everyone else in this category this year. Aside from maybe the Everything Everywhere duo, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and I don't want to spoil Glass Onion, but if you see that movie and Everything Everywhere, you probably know what I'm talking about and how those performances are kind of similar. And then Hong Chau doesn't get in for The Whale. And The Whale is really interesting because this had a lot of buzz whenever it was coming out because of Brendan Fraser's performance. But now that it's out, it's not getting the rave reviews that I myself expected it to get. I think it's below 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think without that traction, Hong Chau doesn't really stand a chance here come Oscars night, unless for whatever reason the Academy is really into The Whale and it ends up getting screenplay. Fraser will probably get a Best Actor nod. And maybe if it gets a couple of other technical categories here and there, like hair and makeup maybe. But Hong Chau being left out there is interesting. So whenever it comes to who's going to win this, I think Kerry Condon's got it. I think that she's going to run away with it because she's the one person here that I could seriously see winning come Oscars night. I felt like for a while it was between the Women Talking duo and Carrie Condon. So now with both of them gone, I don't see any reason why Carrie Condon can't end up winning this, and the Hollywood Foreign Press is very high on Banshees of Inisherin. More on that next. Now for supporting actor, this is another interesting category. We got Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin, Barry Keoghan also for Banshees of Inisherin, Brad Pitt for Babylon, Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse. The most interesting thing about this category for me is the fact that both of the Banshees guys got in here. Keoghan and Gleeson both got nominated, and both of the Fabelmans guys got left out. Paul Dano snubbed again from an awards body. And I said this in my Fabelmans review. I said this is the kind of understated performance that will probably make him fly under the radar like Paul Dano has done his entire career because people just don't want to give him his flowers. Whatever. It's the Golden Globes. It doesn't matter as much. But Judd Hirsch doesn't get nominated here either. And that's really interesting too because he's sort of a legacy performer. I would have thought that if, Paul Dano got snubbed that Judd Hirsch still had a chance just because he had a memorable scene, but nope. The Hollywood Foreign Press decided neither of the Fabelmans guys were going to get in. And then Brad Pitt gets in for Babylon, and it seems like from the trailers he has a very flashy, showy performance, but Babylon has, from the initial reactions, not been getting the rave reviews that at least I expected it to get. So I don't know. I feel like he probably won't win in this category, but he's a good name to pop up in there. I think if he shows up on Oscar night, I wouldn't be terribly shocked, but he's also someone where if Babylon doesn't have that sort of traction going in, that I could see being left out come Oscars night. I need to stop saying Oscars night. I feel like I've said that like 10 times. Okay, I'll try to stop now. But then we have my favorite in this category, Ke Huy Quan, with his grand return back to movies here, getting a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. He's the person who I think is going to end up winning this. He'll probably win the Oscar for this as well. If I had to guess, I think Brendan Gleeson has a decent shot of upsetting him, but the narrative is in Kwan's favor right now, and this is just another nomination that he has under his belt as he tries to get there on Oscar night, and I said it again, my bad. Then lastly, Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse. I didn't know much about this movie before this nomination. I had heard the name, but I ended up watching the first half of it last night after I was running through all of these nominations, and so far I can see why he's here. I need to watch the last half of the movie, but I feel like people are going to give Eddie Redmayne crap for being nominated here because they haven't heard of the movie. But so far, I can totally see why he's here. I could see him getting nominated for the Oscar for this and getting nominated in multiple awards bodies. He's an excellent actor and he's excellent in the movie, at least from what I've seen so far. I need to watch the second half. Maybe he stinks it up, but he gets the Golden Globe, which definitely helps him moving forward. Next up, I'll move on to the lead categories for musical or comedy. The Golden Globe splits them up between drama and musical or comedy. I think that it's just for the sake of getting as many names on their nominee sheet as possible, again, to try to gain that attention. Oh my goodness. But let me start here with Best Performance by an Actress in a Musical or Comedy. We got Leslie Manville for Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Haven't seen it. Don't have anything to say about it. Good for her. Margot Robbie for Babylon. Again, the Hollywood Foreign Press is high on Babylon. We'll see that in the next category as well. But Margot Robbie has definitely been in the talks on getting nominated for the Oscar here. She's another name that I could see being snubbed come awards night because Babylon doesn't really have that sort of traction at this point. But she gets the Golden Globe nod here. Anya Taylor-Joy for The Menu. I love this. I am so happy she's being recognized for The Menu. And in the next category, Ralph Fiennes, spoiler alert, he gets nominated too. I am so happy that this movie is getting attention, even if it's from the Golden Globes. Whatever, I'll take it. I'm glad that it's represented here. Anya Taylor-Joy totally deserves it. Emma Thompson for Good Luck to You, Leo Grant. Also haven't heard of it. Need to watch it. Then Michelle Yeoh, probably going to win this. Everything Everywhere All at Once. She, I feel like, is the runaway favorite to win this category at this point. She's one of the top two contenders for the Oscar, in my opinion. I feel like it's between her and Cate Blanchett. That may change as more and more nominations come out and as people start winning some stuff. I just don't know at this point. She's my favorite. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this category. The biggest person left out here is Naomi Ackie for I Want to Dance with Somebody. And this actually carry some significance with this, because I would imagine of any voting body that Aki would get in for the Golden Globes, I mean, I would imagine that movie's a musical, right? It's about Whitney Houston, and she's been getting decent traction for other awards here. So I felt like this would be a layup for her, but her not getting in the Golden Globes, that could end up actually really hurting her, because if anything, she's not getting her name out there and people aren't thinking about her whenever it comes to awards. So that's the one big one that I thought was interesting that they left her out. Moving on to actor for musical or comedy, we got Diego Calva for Babylon. Like I said, they are really high on Babylon. I think that it's interesting they nominated Diego Calva here. He's not a big name, so I think that they just want to promote the movie by itself and just the actors that are in it. So I thought that it was interesting that he got put in here. It hasn't come out here yet, so I haven't seen it. Don't know how he is in it. He seems good from the trailers, but again, I don't really know a whole lot about it. Then we got Daniel Craig for Glass Onion. I'm so happy about that. I posted my Glass Onion review yesterday. Daniel Craig is excellent in it. I'm glad that he got in here. I don't think he's going to get nominated for Best Actor Oscar, but that guy deserves all the recognition he can get. Then we got Adam Driver for White Noise. I had never heard of this movie. I watched the trailer whenever the nominations came out, and it seems like a funny movie, and it's from Noah Baumbach, who made Marriage Story. I feel like that movie's an example of just how Netflix needs to change up their business strategy, because they're coming out with so much stuff that here they have a Noah Baumbach movie, a guy who I believe won the screenplay Oscar for Marriage Story. I might be wrong, but he at the very least got nominated for a ton of stuff in that movie, and that movie's excellent. At least me, who I would consider myself dialed in to what's going on with movies, I had no idea that this existed. There's no excuse for that. They got to do better marketing out their movies, or they just got to shrink up their content. Then we got Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin. I think that he's going to run away with this. Probably the best performance of his career at this point. I've had about a month to think on it. And that guy, he is fantastic in Banshees of Inisherin. It's such a different role for him. He's so endearing in that movie as well, and he has a couple of blow-up scenes as well that he is just excellent in, and you believe every second that he's on screen. If someone's going to battle Brendan Fraser out for the Best Actor Oscar, if people are still low on the whale, it's going to be Colin Farrell, and I could see them rewarding him for just his decades worth of good work at this point. But he gets the nomination here for musical or comedy. He should win this. And then the very last person nominated is Ralph Fiennes for The Menu, and it is well deserved. I love that he got nominated here. He doesn't get recognized enough. Again, it's the Golden Globes, but I'm glad that The Menu movie and then the two leads in it are getting some recognition at the very least. I don't have any snubs in this category, so let's move on to Best Actress in a Drama. So for Best Actress in a Drama, we have Cate Blanchett for Tar. Not a shocker there. We have Olivia Colman for Empire of Light. Interesting. Viola Davis for The Woman King. Also interesting. Ana de Armas for Blonde. Okay, we'll revisit that. Then we have Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. Okay, there is someone left off here, and that is Danielle Deadwyler for Till. I don't know how they got away with not nominating her and nominating Ana de Armas for Blonde instead. This isn't a diss on Ana de Armas, but Blonde came out and critics didn't like it, audiences didn't like it. Oh, what is she doing here, especially over Deadwyler, who absolutely killed it in Till? And Olivia Colman gets in for Empire of Light over Deadwyler. And while I'm sure Colman is fantastic in the movie, Deadwyler has been a contender to win this. I still think it's between Blanchett and Yeoh, but Deadwyler's been at 3 or 4 basically as long as I've been checking Gold Derby. She's been right there, and it seems like everyone across the board loves her performance in Till, so where's the problem? I think it's just because she's not a big name, and it's the Golden Globes, and they want to fit in all of these celebrity names that people know. I mean, Cate Blanchett, Olivia Colman, Viola Davis, Ana de Armas, Michelle Williams, those are heavy hitters. So I think that may just be what happened for Deadwyler. I think other awards bodies are going to make up for this, and she will be nominated moving forward. I still think that she has a really good chance of being nominated for the Oscar here. I just don't see how she gets left out of this. I'm sorry, I really don't. That is, I was shocked whenever she didn't get put in here. Viola Davis. We need to start paying attention to her for lead actress in the Oscars, because who do we have here in the five? We got Blanchett, in my opinion, Deadweiler's going to get in. Margot Robbie has been in the conversation there for a while. And then we have Michelle Williams. I could see a world where Margot Robbie gets put out of the Oscar nods because they're not very high on Babylon potentially. And then Viola Davis slips in for The Woman King, which was extremely well received, and she was very well received in it. This is a very critical nomination for Viola Davis for the sake of getting her name out there, and I think that this could have some meaningful repercussions moving forward for her. But yeah, that's actress for a drama. The biggest thing is just Deadweiler being left out. I don't know what they were thinking. So moving on to actor in a drama, we have Austin Butler for Elvis, which I thought was interesting. I would have thought that they would slip him in there for musical or comedy, given that there's music in it. But, I can totally see how they put it in drama as well, because it is a drama movie. It's just the Golden Globes have a history of, oh, your movie has a song in it, musical or comedy. And then also, if there's just jokes in the movie, they've thrown it in musical or comedy. Like The Martian won Best Picture, musical or comedy. That movie is not a comedy nor a musical, so I don't understand what it was doing in there. But Austin Butler for Elvis, I'm going on a tangent. Austin Butler for Elvis gets in. Then we have Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Not shocking there. Brendan Fraser's the runaway favorite for this, but again, I could see him being upset by Colin Farrell on the Oscars because The Whale just isn't getting the reviews that it needs, and Banshees is being widely acclaimed by everyone. But Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Then we have Hugh Jackman for The Son, Bill Nighy for The Living, and then Jeremy Pope for The Inspection. Best actor this year is interesting because after we get past Fraser, Farrell, and Butler, I feel like it's a free-for-all at this point. Everyone that has seen The Son says that Hugh Jackman's going to be nominated. And then we have Bill Nighy, which has been rounding out the top 5 lately. But man, there's room here for a big upset moving forward. Tom Cruise doesn't get in for Top Gun Maverick, which I'm not terribly shocked about for a couple of reasons. One, I just don't see him getting in here for Best Actor. Top Gun Maverick is one of the best movies of the year for sure, but I don't know if Tom Cruise gets in for a Best Actor for this. Really? I don't know. I feel like that there were other great performances out there this year that were better than Cruise. For what Cruise did for Top Gun Maverick is very important, but I don't know if it's deserving of a Best Actor nod. But then also, it's the Golden Globes. Tom Cruise famously returned all of his Golden Globes last year because, again, the Hollywood Foreign Press is just super sketchy, and they've done a lot of bad things in the past. Cruise made a statement. It's not shocking they decided not to nominate him. It is actually a little surprising that they nominated Brendan Fraser. I think that he's just such a runaway here that they couldn't leave him out. But Brendan Fraser, I'm not going to get into why he hates the Golden Globes, but it is very warranted why he hates the Golden Globes, and he will not be there on awards night. I think that they're doing another banquet, but yeah, he's not going to be there, and I wouldn't expect him to be there. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets snubbed for the win here and they give it to Austin Butler, to be perfectly honest, because they may just not want to give it to him for a myriad of reasons. And if you want to look up why, go ahead and look it up. I'm not going to talk about it here because it's terrible. It's terrible what happened to Brendan Fraser. Okay, let's get into a couple of other snubs. Paul Mescal doesn't get in for Aftersun, and that's been a movie that I've seen get a lot of traction here. People are hailing it as a masterpiece, and he's amazing in it. He's one of those people that I could see end up getting a nomination on Oscars night, just for an understated performance there. One that isn't getting a lot of attention just because it's not a mainstream movie, but Paul Mescal doesn't get in for the Golden Globes, not terribly shocking. And then no Gabriel LaBelle for The Fabelmans, and I think that he's totally deserving of a nomination here. Again, not a big name. It's the Golden Globes. Whatever. Take it with a grain of salt. But I would love to see LaBelle slip in here moving forward with some other awards bodies. As for who's going to win this, I feel like you heard it here first. I think they're going to snub Fraser because of that history. and they're going to give it to Austin Butler. I think that Austin Butler is going to get a win here, and I don't anticipate him winning many awards from other awards bodies, but it'll be nice seeing him win a Golden Globe or get some sort of hardware here if it matters to him. All right, now Best Picture. First, musical or comedy. Again, Babylon gets nominated here. They're really high on Babylon. Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and Diego Calva. Now Babylon gets in for picture. I'm shocked that they honestly didn't nominate Damien Chazelle with all the nominations that Babylon ended up getting, but whatever. Babylon gets nominated here. Banshees of Inisherin gets nominated. Everything Everywhere All at Once gets the nod. Glass Onion gets in here, and then Triangle of Sadness. I think it's between Banshees and Everything Everywhere. It's going to depend on how the other awards shake out, and it may come down to who they favor for supporting actor, because there's a conversation to be had that Ke Huy Quan and Brendan Gleeson have an equal chance of getting the supporting actor nod. I would personally give it to Ke Huy Quan, but it's just difficult to decide that right now. And there's a conversation to be had that whichever direction they go on there, it could reflect what they do with the movie as a whole, or what their feelings about the movie as a whole are. Right now, I feel like they give it to Banshees. I don't know exactly why I think that way, but I don't know. I just have that feeling that they're going to favor Banshees at the end of the day here. I don't have a whole lot of reasoning. Sorry. I just feel like they are going to reward Martin McDonagh. He's been doing fantastic work over the last decade or so. And yeah, I think that it's about time that he gets a couple of awards under his belt here. And I think that that's going to be reflected in the Golden Globes. Again, Everything Everywhere has a really good chance here. I would personally give it to Everything Everywhere, but I think Banshees is going to end up getting it. Then for Best Picture Drama, we have Avatar: The Way of Water, Elvis, The Fabelmans, Tar, and then Top Gun: Maverick. Very interesting category here. Avatar: The Way of Water gets in there. Again, it's been getting rave reviews. I'll know more whenever I actually go see the dang thing on Thursday. I'm very excited. And if this movie is as good as they say it is, or at least as good as the critics and the people that have gone in to actually see it at the premiere, if it's as good as all those people say it is, then yeah, it totally deserves the nomination here. It'll probably be there whenever it comes to the Oscars. But for here, it's really interesting. Then we have Elvis getting in here. Again, I, for whatever reason, thought that it would be put in there at musical or comedy. But I guess that the Hollywood Foreign Press are just really high on Elvis, with Baz Luhrmann getting the director nod. Austin Butler getting a nod isn't surprising, but I feel like Elvis, stacked up against the other two movies in this category that I've seen so far, Fabelmans and Top Gun: Maverick, is easily the worst of them. I haven't seen Avatar yet. I'm seeing that on Thursday. And then I just haven't gotten around to seeing Tar quite yet. So it's hard for me to judge that. But I think, again, it's a case of the Hollywood Foreign Press wanting to get celebrities there. They want Baz Luhrmann there. They want Austin Butler. They want those names associated with it. Elvis is a movie that people know about, so they want attention here. They're going to nominate it. I don't know if Elvis is going to get a Best Picture nomination, but it's getting some traction right now, so it very well could slip in there. Fabelmans, I mean, that's an easy layup nomination. Spielberg gets the director nod. I'm a little surprised that they didn't nominate Gabriel LaBelle with as much attention that they're giving the Fabelmans here, but that has a very good shot of winning. Tar, haven't seen it. Looks fantastic. Cate Blanchett's probably going to win in her category. And then we have Top Gun: Maverick, which, again, I think is interesting given how Tom Cruise doesn't have a good history with the Golden Globes, but Top Gun: Maverick is a big movie that people know about. It's the biggest movie of the year. It's been slated in there to get a Best Picture nomination. So this is a very good step in that direction for Top Gun: Maverick. I don't think it's going to end up winning in this category, but I'm happy to see it there. So those are my quick reactions to the Golden Globe nominations here. Again, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I would put a lot more stock into the Critics' Choice Awards, BAFTAs as we lead up to the Oscars, but for some of these people that are kind of borderline getting nominated for an Oscar or not, it's important to get their name out there just so people voting in the Academy have them top of mind. So this could be very significant for some of these people and some people that were left out. I feel like maybe, especially with Danielle Deadwyler, this could mean that whenever it comes time for the Academy body to go ahead and submit their ballots, that they're going to try to make good on that snub and get her in there. But that's just a theory. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you watching up to this point. This is probably a longer video. So again, thank you. Subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.